Warning: this review contains clips and spoilers from the movie. Please watch at your own discretion.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is M3 Reviews. Jayden and Davis back at it.
What's up?
So the movie that we're looking at today is one that's not really well known. Came out in 2003, so I don't know why it's very interesting right now, but it was good to watch. So the movie we're going into is a movie called Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. Good animated movie by DreamWorks.
I picked this movie, by the way. This is all my decision.
We are looking at animation, the music and sound effects, the voice acting, and the overall story. So, want to jump into it there, Jayden?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go over the film synopsis as we did last episode with Extraction. So the basic rundown is the brave mariner Sinbad battles raging elements, mutinous dogs, and fearsome monsters to retrieve the Book of Peace after being framed by the treacherous goddess of chaos. And it says at the end, and I can't believe it says this, a DreamWorks Animation. I don't know why you would need that in a film synopsis, but I guess that they just wanted to include it. So anyways, this is an animated show about pirates and adventure and basically an Earth kind of flipped on its head, going back to kind of Greek gods. So you have the goddess of chaos. There's not really any other gods that are mentioned, but they do mention gods a lot in this. And this is one of my favorite animated.
Having to keep their promises.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's all about trust and friendship and camaraderie and family and love. And it is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Honestly, it's so good. I love pirates. Sinbad is an awesome name. There's also an anime called Sinbad Magi, but this is not the same thing. But this was a gem that I don't think I've watched before. And then when I watched it once, I was just like, okay, I have to watch this again. This is such a good movie.
Yeah, it's good recommendation. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I recommend good things. Davis, like an Xbox. But anyways, so we're going to start off with the first thing, the animation. So Davis, what did you think of the animation?
I liked it. I liked that it was a good mix between 2D animation and kind of 3D. Like when you first get introduced to the first creature, the Kraken.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's a different
model
style. Yeah, it's more 3D stylized than compared to the characters that are the basic normal 2D animation. And I really liked the actual goddess of chaos there. Like her flow of the smoke and everything of how she moves and transforms from giant to regular human size.
Yeah.
Like, it flowed really well. It was really smoky. It was good textures. It was cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've really seen a bad DreamWorks animation yet, mostly because I've just watched Shrek my entire life, and then this one. So, yeah, it fits the DreamWorks style. It looks super duper awesome. It flows really, really well. I honestly can't think of a bad thing to say about the animation. There were no weird cuts. There was no weird design choices, anything like that. It was overall just impressive, and there's not much I can really say about it.
I really liked I kind of put one of these things I kind of put into story and in animation, so it kind of fits into both. But the sirens, I really liked how they were like water. They actually formed into water specifically.
Yeah,
we'll get into the story of it a little bit later, but
yeah,
the flow and how it actually worked, instead of just being typical like mermaids, like what they normally are, the flow and everything looked really amazing too. So I liked the character designs and everything. And the dog was really cool.
The dog is awesome.
What's his name? What was his name?
Spike.
Spike? Yeah.
Go Spike.
Yeah, I love Spike.
Yeah.
I love Sinbad. I love all of the characters. And to the asshole on Rotten Tomatoes that said you don't really care about these characters, man, fuck you. You did not have a childhood. But anyways, we're going to skip past that. We're going to go on to the next topic, which is music and sound effects. So I found the sound effects, of course, because it's 2003, a lot of the sword sound effects sound really close to the ones that you hear today. So, but I'm going to forgive it because it's 2003. And they still sound incredible. The voice acting, which we haven't gone into yet, is on point. All the sound effects sound super cool. There was nothing really mistimed, nothing really that was just like, That should not be there, or that's not entirely right or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the music itself, it's on par. There's nothing really too spectacular. Of course, you have like the epic music at the end, or like the sad, or like the epic music when she steals the Book of Chaos, or the Book of Peace. You know, it's there's a lot, right? There's not really a lot to say other than that on the music and the sound effects. Davis?
Yeah. So I had a couple little points here and there on that. Like, I agree with you 100%, but I liked how when Sinbad and the woman there, I forget what was her name, I don't even know, when they were escaping from that giant the giant bird, and they slide down, and like they're right on the very edge of the cliff. There was like the music was like rising, and then stopped right as they stopped, so it was timed like perfectly.
Yeah,
it was like really good, like symphony and everything. And then I kind of agree with you, like sound effects wise, like sword clashings were kind of weird, and then just the typical of like someone getting hit. So yeah, like just basically nothing too crazy. So nothing that like stood out as being like wrong or off. Or anything
and
like that.
Just to make that clear, that's not a bad thing if nothing stands out or anything. It's good to have something that's really average, but it's a good average rather than it's a bad average. So like if we're thinking about it as a scale out of 1 to 4, like 0 out of 4 being the worst, 4 out of 4 being the best, this is like a 3 out of 4 kind of movie for audio wise. I think it would even go as high as like a 3.5, because I think it just pulled it out super well. But because it's DreamWorks, you have to expect that kind of quality from that kind of production.
It's no like iconic score like Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything like that, but it's just has good positive music when it's a good time, and kind of more doomy, gloomy music when it's like you normally would.
Yeah, exactly, right? So let's move on to voice acting. So I, of course, because I'm bad and I don't know any actors ever, I did not know Brad Pitt was Sinbad. He sounded familiar, too. But apparently, according to the Wikipedia page, Russell Crowe was originally going to voice Sinbad. So I'm really glad that they went with Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt put a really interesting like happiness to the character in a way. You kind of get that sense of freedom when he talks, right? You hear that he's free. You hear that he's not like tied down by anything. He's just super happy, and he's a badass pirate. I just can't see anyone else playing Sinbad. So other than that, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say other characters. Michelle Pfeiffer as Eris, the goddess of discord, and then a few other names that I really don't know. But yeah, all in all, the voice acting was super solid. I love the interesting cast of characters from Sinbad's crew. Like you have the rat who's like a Italian, and you have his
the twins, and like the Asians that are they brothers or whatever.
Yeah. Like you have the twins, and you have the old guy, and then you have the co-captain or the co-captain or whatever. Pardon?
First mate.
The first mate, yeah. And then you have his best friend Proteus and stuff like that. They're all really, really good, and I honestly can't think of a bad thing to say about this movie. It's honestly incredible. Like, go and see this movie if you haven't already, because we're gonna spoil the shit out of it in a few minutes.
I have agree with like same thing, but I had kind of like key moments. I guess it's more of like writing, but it's also just how they kind of put their inflections on it. There was one like little things that I liked is that it was kind of continuity. Like when Sinbad was like angry or whatever, he had the little like the typical, so they kind of had that kind of going, and it was kind of neat. And then I picked up on this that I noticed it was just a little throwaway line that I really liked, that I don't think kids would really notice. It's one of those like adult jokes type thing, is when she's first stowing away gets onto the ship, she's going through all the stuff and everything, and then she picks up a bra, and it's like, oh, from a brothel.
And from a brothel in Syracuse.
Good guess.
And it's just like you barely notice it.
No.
But I was like, oh, I liked that little line there of just kids wouldn't really know what that is, but like Just a
Yeah,
little adult joke in there.
that's the thing with especially, well, just animated movies in general. You're always gonna have those like dirty jokes that you find in like Disney movies, or in this case DreamWorks movies, that are catered towards adults, because you can't, like, you're sitting with your kid watching this, you need to have some entertainment value as an adult, right? You can't just be sitting there just like, okay, if I was a kid I would be happy. But yeah, there were some good jokes like that. That was obviously the best one. But
yeah, that one, and the little there was two other ones that I picked up when he's telling his backstory about what happens to him. They just do a cutaway to the one guy talking about pickles when he's talking about
pickles
aiming
and
at
eggs.
his junk.
Yeah,
that was a
awesome.
good line. And the other one I liked was when the ship was rocking after getting towed or whatever. They all start throwing up. The dog throws up, and then you just hear a throwaway line of, "Where did he get carrots?"
Yeah.
Just the what, like, just there. I don't like just the little pinpoints. Like, that's what. Little key little moments there.
Yeah, just the little moments. Yeah, and it's like, that's what it is. It's like there's some big moment happening. Like, oh, they're sailing through this like sea of sirens, but there's all these little jokes that are coming along and stuff like that. So it's the little things that DreamWorks and Disney have done so well that make their movies so good, and it especially comes out in this one. So hats off to DreamWorks, But let's get into the last thing, the story. So the story of this one is, there's a book called The Book of Peace. Sinbad is trying to steal it from his best friend Proteus, who doesn't know is guarding it, and then it gets to its destination, and they attempt to steal it, but Sinbad says no. But the goddess of chaos says, I'm gonna frame him for stealing it, and I'm gonna steal it. And so Sinbad is framed for the crime, but Proteus steps in and says, I will take his place as an execution, because Sinbad is actually telling the truth about what happened and how he didn't do it. So they give Sinbad the ultimatum of, okay, you have 10 days to retrieve the book. If you don't, Proteus will die, and if you come back empty-handed, you're gonna die anyways. So of course Sinbad tries to escape. Proteus's fiance goes and stops him, and is just like, hey, I'll give you a ton of money if you go save my future husband. And then they set off on this journey. They have a few adventures, stuff like that, and then he attempts to get the book back, but he ultimately doesn't, and Sinbad goes back to die. But the goddess of discord, of course, just goes, yeah, no, that's not who you really are. You're just a lying thief. This isn't who you are. You need to stop this. And then that actually dupes her, and she has to give up the Book of Peace. So everyone lives. Sinbad is a hero, and Sinbad gets the girl and all that stuff, and Proteus lives a lonely life because he no longer has a wife because his best friend stole it. So that's the main story of this. There are a few things that really bothered me about this story. Is, first off, they mentioned gods a lot in this, yet there was only one goddess, and that was Eris. They didn't bring up Zeus. They didn't bring up anyone else. They didn't bring up a god of peace or god of, justice, anything like that. It's just like, where are all the other gods? It wouldn't really make sense for the story, but it would have been super cool to kind of see those in motion. But other than that, I thought the story was incredible. I thought it's simplistic, but it's juicy enough that it still keeps you interested. And it's like, you always have these moments where it's like, you think it's going well, then it goes downhill slightly, but then they figure it out, and then it goes downhill, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I kind of looked at it story-wise in kind of like two ways. One, in a like, would children like this story? Does it make sense and is it entertaining for children?
Yeah.
And then I kind of looked at it as like breaking it down into some of the other like pieces. Like I had for like, as they like adult almost, quote unquote. I definitely had a couple questions of looking at it this way of like, what are the other 12 cities? They don't ever mention them.
Yeah.
Why is that city the most important one? Like,
why are they
exactly.
transporting why are they transporting the Book of Peace Like, what does it mean? It
Yeah,
doesn't.
what does it do? They don't really explain what it does. It's just a glowing book. Like, there are some other like holes in it that when you look at it and break it down in that way, yeah, it kind of you don't like. Why is she breaking it? Why does she need to steal it? The goddess.
Yeah.
If she could have just stole it herself from the beginning, why did she have to frame him? Like,
Yeah.
they do explain that part a little bit more at the end, but there are a little bit of things of like, okay, this makes no sense. But then when you look at it in the way of like, would kids enjoy it? Like, I think it's a simple enough story and still entertaining enough story where kids would enjoy it, and even as adults still enjoy it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
With with like Davis with his giant adult brain and me with my kid brain, like it's good for both of us, right? So like, yeah, there was a lot that was just unexplained, and there's a lot of lore missing behind it. But that's what I think this movie did so well, is it just like wanted us to either have a sequel, or it wanted us to keep exploring the world of Sinbad, right? So like, where are his crewmates from? Like, where did he find Spike? What are the 12 cities? Stuff like that. So I think they did it really well, but unfortunately it's like I don't think there's going to be a Sinbad unless it starts doing immensely good in the next few weeks.
Considering this came out in 2003, it would have had to have a sequel in like 2004 or 5 or 6. Like,
yeah.
The other thing
there is a sequel. Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas 2 Underwater Adventure that releases in November 8th, 2017. Wow. So it was a long time ago. But I don't even know if it released.
Well, you said releases released 2017. That's 3 years ago.
Exactly. Well, I'm trying to see if there's actually anything for it, because there's no Wikipedia page, there's no IMDb page, so apparently there was supposed to be a sequel, but it doesn't look like it ever happened. So yep, that's all it was. It was just one tiny little thing from a wiki. So I guess we'll never get a sequel to it unless they get around to rebooting it, because hey, everyone's bored in quarantine. I'm guaranteeing someone's like, maybe we should make a Sinbad sequel. It's doing so well on Netflix right now, maybe people want to see the sequel. Just boot it back up, dude. Just do it.
Maybe it will happen.
It'll make you so much money. But yeah, the story was super simplistic to follow. It was simple yet kind of expansive. It hit all of the marks for good storytelling with the story equation and stuff like that from film school, all of that stuff. But yeah, I think they did it really well. It's really straightforward. There was nothing too confusing about it, for the most part, except for like, why would she make the deal with Sinbad and then immediate? Oh no, I know why. I remember why now. That's a stupid question. Lol. I'm confusing myself at this point. But yeah, it's not a very confusing, and it's very like, you think back on it and you're just like, oh, that's why, right? So yeah, I think it did really well.
Yeah, and I do like the like I was saying earlier, the sirens. That was probably my one of my favorite parts, because it was because instead of it just being regular mermaids like you would see, like it's a new concept, new version of it. And I like how right as they came in, they instantly started pulling the men in, and like it was a good concept. I don't know, it was really cool. And then I was actually a little bit there was a couple things like I didn't expect how they stopped the giant bird. I was expecting because they showed the talons being like really sharp and digging into the ice when the bird first captures her.
Yeah.
I expected it to come fly by, and then the talons to break the ice and then them escape. Not crush the bird and then the boulder break the ice. Like that was definitely unique. I liked that. And
it was a little bit unexpected, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. It was because normally when something like that happens, that's like a prerequisite saying like, okay, this is how they're going to escape. That's normally how it happens in a movie or something. But yeah, this was a little bit different. Like, I don't know, it
Mhm.
caught me off not off guard, but
But
it was just not how I saw it. So,
yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
right? It's and I think that's one of the great things about this is like a mini theme of like critical thinking where okay, yeah, they killed the bird this way, or like there's a kind of mini theme of different people have different skills and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because they wouldn't have made it through the Siren Pass without Marina there, and then with actually reading the gates of Tartarus, uh, they couldn't get there without Sinbad's quick thinking of, oh yeah, we're gonna make it so the wind is pointing up. We need to face the sails up so they'll actually catch the air and allow us to fly,
Mhm.
right? So that's another thing.
Mhm.
How did they get the boat from flying in midair to back on the water? That's a thing. That's a
Yeah.
question.
I know that's
Just
there
like
were, yeah, again, and then that was just like when right at the beginning when the prince's ship, like when they killed the Kraken, how did all of the men just and everyone instantly start sailing again?
yeah. How
There's-
did
Yeah,
how did that happen? Nobody went back
Like-
for the guy that fell in the water. What?
and he did.
He dead. I guess so.
But I did like how they killed the Kraken. Like
Yeah, the double
especially
points.
like, yeah, that was, I don't know, that was cool too.
Mhm.
So I don't know. There,
Yeah.
like I said, this is it did remind me. I think I've a feeling why people may not have liked it is because it reminded me a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean. But I was gonna bring this up, but
Mhm.
you haven't seen them yet.
No.
So it's like, and those are better movies, and they're Disney, so they're bigger and everything like
Yeah.
that. So people probably didn't see both
I
movies
don't
when
know.
they first came out.
From what I've seen of Pirates of the Caribbean, I take Sinbad every single time. I don't like the realistic kind of look of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the look of Sinbad, the cartoonish, but I'd probably watch Pirates of the Caribbean at some point. But yeah, I think yeah, that probably is a good reason why it failed. But a lot of people are like I again while we were looking at stuff, we were looking at the reviews. It has a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was absolutely absurd. 91% of users liked this film according to Google. I'm gonna hit that like button so it goes to 92. It's got a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a perfect score on Movie Guide. So this movie is very conflicting on opinions, but I think that's the cue to give our opinions on what we thought the rating of this movie should be. For me, it's a solid 8.5 out of 10. Easily. This is a great movie if you're a kid or you love pirates, or even if you're an adult. Doesn't matter. You're going to like this movie, especially if you have like nieces or nephews or kids that are young that like pirates. They're going to love this movie. They're going to think it's super cool. So that's my score. 8.5 out of 10. Go see this movie if you haven't already. Davis?
Nice. I'm going lower.
How dare you?
Just because it was good, but my mind just went into too many of the flaws of like why
Of
is
course.
this, why is this, why is
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
why is this, so that like there are a few too many flaws for me to make
Alright.
it that high, and it is not. And I do agree, it's not the best
Mhm.
DreamWorks movie. So I'm thinking 6.5.
6.5. That's
Because it's still good. The animation is really good. The story is good, but there's just too many of the little flaws that are nitpicky just for me personally.
like the questions of lore and stuff like that, and
Yeah, exactly. Because I do know,
Mm.
I kind of know a little bit about like actual like Greek mythology and stuff, so it kind of threw it off a little bit. But
I don't know.
one thing I was gonna say, I did like the different version of Tartarus too, because instead of it being just like underworld, so that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. But yeah,
It's
still good. But hey, we disagreed on the last episode. We'll probably disagree on
well,
the
yeah,
next one too.
Last episode was just. If you haven't seen our Extraction review, go see it because it's a very interesting review, and I think the review is better than the movie itself. Legit. If you're gonna watch anything Extraction, watch the trailer. Then you've watched the entire movie. Congratulations! Like this movie, you have to see it. I know you guys have Netflix out there. Everyone's got Netflix in these times. Go watch Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. It is a great movie.
I still recommend it. It's still a good movie. Still good animated movie. Still good movie for kids too. And
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I liked it, but
yeah, exactly. So it threw me off at that one. All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching our review of Sinbad, The Legend of the Seven Seas. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Check out our Twitch. We go live every Saturday in the evening time. And check out our podcast. We do it every week. It releases on Thursdays at 1 p.m. And let us know what you guys suggest for a movie for us to review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us here at M3 Reviews. Davis, do you have anything to say?
The only thing I was going to say was, what did you think of the movie? And make sure to let us know as well. But other than that, I think we're good to go.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, guys. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys in the next review. Peace out. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and check out our podcast over on our YouTube channel. And make sure to catch us on Saturday at twitch.tv/multimediagames.